Hello and welcome to Connected, episode 554. It's made possible this week by our sponsor, Ecamm. My name is Stephen Hackett, and I have the pleasure of being joined by our keynote chairman, Mike Hurley.
Hello. I have obviously a long road ahead of me as keynote chairman, but it will be contested shortly. But I have a long road ahead because I'm not going to lose it. I would like to welcome another long road ahead chairman, the annual chairman, Federico. Hi, Federico.
Hello. Yeah, I'll be chairman for a while. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean you have the rest of the year,
unless they change the calendar or something.
Look, anything can happen. It feels like
right. I mean they've been changing maps and geography, so why not the calendar? You know.
Oh man. Whoever wins, if you win like 3 annuals in a row, you get to rename the Gulf of Mexico after yourself.
Wow, I love it. You can put it in the Bill of Ricky's. Put it in the Gulf of Mike. Declaration
of Ricky Pendants.
Stephen, can you just move on to your very, very weird follow-up?
I do have some follow-up. It's not weird. We talked about a thing.
Weird. No, this is weird.
And now we're talking about it again.
Okay.
Several people sent me a link from Michael MJD, who does these cool tech history videos on YouTube, going over the Motorola Rocker. So you should go check that out. But the real reason I put this in here is a direct appeal to a listener named Matt. Matt, several weeks ago, in our feedback form, was like, hey, I have a rocker. I'd love to send it to Steven. So I emailed them and said, hey, I would love to adopt it. Like, let me know how we could work this out. And I haven't heard back. And so, Matt, if you're out there, hit me up. I would love to adopt your Motorola Rocker.
Matt, if you would prefer to give it to me, email me. Federico,
yeah, I don't. No, I don't want it. I don't want it. No.
I don't want it.
No, thank
either.
you. No.
Okay. Well,
this is strange. This is like a personal ad on a podcast. It's like man looking for rocker.
Oh yeah. Well, Craigslist shut all that stuff down. You can't do personal.
So now you need a podcast.
Now you need a podcast. Look, what is a podcast if not a way to grow your computer collection?
That's a really great point.
Have you ever thought about that?
Great point. No.
Okay.
WhatsApp is available on the iPad.
What?
Finally.
Incredible.
I mean, cut them some slack. 15 years for a company like Meta. The guy has been busy. Zuck has been busy. First with the sunscreen, and then with the little cartoons in VR, and now
and then being in court.
Being in court, and then buying gold chains, and eventually it's like, yeah, okay, fine, we'll do WhatsApp on the iPad.
Why is this I don't understand why this has happened. Like, why is it now? Why do we have it now?
My answer was going to be why not, but probably not good enough. I don't know.
Yeah, it's strange. Look, do Instagram next. That's what everybody wants. Like, congratulations, we have WhatsApp on the iPad. No, I want Instagram on the iPad.
The only half reasonable theory is that maybe if iPadOS is getting this big update at WWDC, maybe Meta wanted to be able to, I don't know, to sort of be there and be part of some early demos of people saying, hey, this is the new iPadOS, and look, I'm using WhatsApp on the iPad. I don't know.
Maybe. I can't imagine Apple being ever having.
No, me neither.
You know what I mean? My only thought is like maybe they're preparing for some kind of foldable thing. Like maybe they think it's going to happen. Because my expectation is Meta would want WhatsApp and Instagram in like a foldable format. But what I will say is, on the Google Pixel Fold, Instagram is terrible on that because you just can't see the images in full. it just blows them up way too big. Maybe there's a way to fix that. Android has some weird settings where you can like zoom out and stuff for certain apps and like change the aspect ratios. Maybe I should play around with that. I hadn't thought about doing that until I just said it. But there you go. Federico, have you used WhatsApp on your iPad yet?
No, because my iPad is in storage and I haven't touched it in like 2
Whoa.
months.
Whoa.
I'll bring it to
Whoa.
WWDC. I'll bring it.
Whoa.
I'll bring it with me.
I did not expect you to say that.
Well, it's the
I know
truth.
you're doing other things. Sorry, we've spoken about them. We're going to talk about them a little bit more. But the thing, the reason I'm surprised about that is just listening to App Stories, and you talk about the Vision Pro, and you were like, "Oh, that we should have iPad mirroring." So I was like, "Oh, he's still using it then." But no, you just want it. You just like the
Yeah,
idea
I
of
just
it.
want it. I want to change my mind. I mean, and I think, good vibes going into WWDC. Like, I'll bring the iPad Pro with me. I actually want to, I think I'm going to grab it over the next few days, update it, sort of use it again a little bit more, but I'll bring it with me because, I mean, I do want to see what they do at WWDC,
Can't wait to see what they do with it. Well, if it's broken in any way, you could fix it because now the iPad is part of the self-service repair program.
Right.
iPad Air M2 and later, iPad Pro M4, iPad Mini A17 Pro, iPad A16, covering displays, batteries, cameras, and charging ports. It's all of these parts are now available for you to go ahead and fix your iPad.
Okay. Sure. I mean,
It's been a long time since I thought about the self-service repair program.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing that Steven cares about.
I do care about it. Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
it thermal event? Is that the thing that it said in the...
Uh-huh.
If it caught on fire, it's a thermal event. You need sand for any thermal events.
Yeah. Yeah, you just you never know when a battery could explode. It could happen right now.
Yep.
Right now to you. How much is that tandem OLED panel going to be? Like, if you break the screen on an iPad and you order the part, that's going to be pricey.
Well, is it available now?
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes. They have Beats products in here, just the Beats pill, just the battery. If you want to replace the battery, the Beats pill, you can do that.
All sorts of stuff. Some real-time follow-up. I looked at rockers on eBay real quickly.
Well, you don't have a lot of faith in listener Max to reach out to you, do you?
There's still not very many of them, but I did find a limited edition Motorola Razr that is like gold, and it looks wild.
It's a Dolce & Gabbana version, that's why.
I couldn't pronounce it, but yeah. Oh, here's a better link. I'll put a better link in Discord. People can check that out.
Dolce & Gabbana.
If you want to.
Can I talk real quick about a bit of a problem that sort of manifested itself over the past couple of days, and I'm sort of like searching for a solution to this problem?
Yeah.
So I, like I mentioned, I have been using the Pixel Watch over the past couple of months, sort of paired with my Pixel Fold, which I really wanted to write about the Pixel Fold before WWDC, and then the article that we're going to talk about shortly sort of happened, and sort of, my plans have been all over the place. But in any case, I realized that I was kind of missing the Apple Watch for some things. There are some things that I really do like about the Pixel Watch: the design, the assistant, obviously, the customization I do like. But I think I do prefer, obviously, the HomeKit, for example. HomeKit notifications on the Apple Watch, super handy. Being able to react to iMessage notifications with tapbacks, basically the Apple ecosystem things, right?
Yep.
And so I got my Apple Watch from my nightstand drawer, and I charged it. It was behind a software update, so what is it, like 11.5 or something? Started using it. Long story short, I realized that my Apple Watch Ultra, first gen, battery life, like the battery health, is now down to 86%. This thing is not lasting through a whole day anymore. And I'm very bummed about it. I really wanted to push it to September or October for to get a new Apple Watch Ultra. But I don't know what am I gonna do here.
How do you check the battery health again? Is it settings
from
on the watch?
From the settings on the watch itself.
From the watch?
From the watch itself.
From Watch FM. Wait.
Yeah. So I don't know, because this thing, like, I
Mine's
put
at
it on
91.
put it on this morning. Put it on this morning. It's now down to 30% already.
Oof.
Yeah.
That's
It's
bad.
rough.
See, you said 91. Mine is newer than yours. This is an Apple Watch Ultra 2. So mine's only a year old and it's already down to 91%. That's not great, right? Like less than 90 and you've got a problem, I think, like at resale and stuff. But yeah, so I've only had mine since September 2003 or something like that.
You want to take another run at that?
Black one.
2000.
2003.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Actually, you know what? Since September 2003, 91% is not that bad. No,
Yeah, really? It's
pretty good. It's pretty good. Like 21 years. Like, that's not bad.
Yeah,
It's
pretty
actually
nice.
not bad.
Pretty nice. So
Back
yeah,
to the
I don't know.
future.
I don't know what to do. I just checked on the Italian Apple Store. If I do the thing where I give them my, like, the trade-in with my Apple Watch Ultra, they're gonna give me 300 euros for it, which would mean
that's so bad. Oh my god, that's so bad.
it's kind of bad, and which means that an Ultra 2 would cost 599 instead of 909 euros.
How much would a battery replacement cost?
I have no idea. Is that even possible?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Apple
Sure.
Watch. Battery. I think with the phone, there's a certain level of battery capacity that they won't replace it. Yeah. If you have AppleCare Plus, battery service may be covered at no additional cost if the battery's health has degraded to 80% or less. So before 80%, I think you would be paying for it.
In the UK, it would, on the UK Apple Store, the estimated cost for a battery replacement is £95, or it's free if you have AppleCare Plus. You should just get the battery replaced. Like, that's, if you want to keep it for longer and you're worried about the battery, like, I feel like you should do that. Your product is eligible, for battery service at no additional cost if you have AppleCare Plus. Do you have AppleCare Plus on it? Do you know?
How does one find out?
That is such a great question.
Check.
It's just great.
Check Apple Care warranty.
Stephen, how do you find out if you have AppleCare Plus?
Check your
on an Apple Watch?
device's so you go to checkcoverage.apple.com. You put in your serial number, which I'm doing right now.
Where do you get the
Okay.
serial number from, even?
From the watch app on the phone.
Zoe in
time-
the Discord says in the Apple Support app, which I don't even know what that is. What is that?
There's
Oh, there it is.
a support
I
app
just
from
searched the
Apple.
word support, and it was on my iPhone. I never knew about it. Look at that.
Okay, let's see. Oh, these captchas, man.
Wow. Are you a robot?
Oh, I guess I am.
Use the support app.
No, it's too long. Oh my god, why? I need to find out, because do you need to bring it to the Apple Store to do that, or can you ship it to them?
That is also a great question. Let me see if I can find that out for you. This is very weird. This is weird podcasting, but I guess this is what people are here for, right?
Yeah.
Send in for repair. We'll help you. Again, it's all in the UK store, right? We'll help you arrange delivery to an Apple repair center at your choice. At your convenience, it takes 6 to 10 days.
Interesting.
So
Let's see.
I would say you would get that if you have the Apple Care, definitely. But if you don't,
all right. Well, okay. Warranty expired.
Oh. Friendship ended with warranty.
if it was less than €100, I feel like that is a better thing to do than the trade in, get a new watch, if I'm being completely honest. Because you would get an Apple Watch Ultra 2, which realistically is not any different to the Apple Watch Ultra that you have.
Okay. I'll think about it. Sounds good. All right.
We have some follow out. Was that a laser?
Yeah.
Okay. On upgrade 565, The Scent of Humane, Jason and one Mike Hurley debated about I.O. and OpenAI and Johnny Ive, and it was very good.
I was very happy with how that episode came together. There was definitely a debate that occurred at certain points of the show, which I enjoyed, and I knew going into it. I was very happy that Jason wrote down all of his opinions about I.O. beforehand, because I I don't know. I was actually quite surprised at how strong his opinions were, but I think it led to a very good conversation. So people should check it out if they haven't.
Yeah, it's good. We covered it as it broke last week, which is always
So fun.
So fun.
I love to do it. That. I'm so happy that happened last week. That was just great.
It was good.
Yeah. Can't believe Jason doesn't like Johnny Ive.
Oh, you know what? Actually, someone wrote in because I was saying about how much I love him. I have such a bias for him, and someone wrote in and said, "I wonder if it's because he's British." And it's like
I was literally gonna say that.
I mean,
I was literally gonna say that.
Of course, right? I find this so strange because I get this whenever I talk about F1, right? That all my favorite drivers are the British drivers, and people get so mad about this. But to me, it's like Americans are the absolute worst with this.
Yeah.
And so it's very funny to me that when Americans get upset that I, as a British person, support British people. But I find it to be very strange. But yes, of course, one of the reasons I love Johnny Ive, Sir Johnny Ive, is because he's from my homeland.
Mm-hmm.
But also because I think he's the greatest designer in all history.
Yeah. Oh man, I'm looking through the upgrade feedback form. A lot of feelings about Johnny Ive in here.
Yeah. Don't look in there.
Closing that tab.
Don't look in there. Don't look in there. We get a lot of it. Some of it everything gets read. Only a portion of it gets read on the show.
That's right. That's well said.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But Stephen, you showed up on another podcast this week.
I did. I was on the talk show with John Gruber. Came out yesterday or over the weekend.
It's a very good episode. My favorite part, one of my favorite parts of the whole episode, is where you nearly melted into a puddle at the beginning of the show because you were immediately put on the spot with a piece of Apple trivia that I don't think you got right.
So we were talking about the screen resolution of the original Macintosh, and I quoted it as 512 by 384, which is wrong. It's 342. I corrected myself quickly, but then we went down a rabbit hole of why that's true. And then I spent basically the next 2 days researching why that's true and wrote a lot of words about it on 512 Pixel.
Was this a penance, this article?
Yeah, I needed to make it right with the universe. So
you spent way too much time researching it.
Yeah.
Put it together.
So yeah, you can go read about that. But yeah, it was great to be on the talk show. We covered a lot of ground. And it was a lot of fun.
Pictures of old Macs look so much better on your new website.
I think so too. The picture of the Lisa with the sort of teal header and stuff looks really good. Especially
if you line the image up just underneath the banner.
Yeah.
It's good.
I'm really happy with the redesign. I'm really, really pleased. So yeah, go check out the talk show if you want to hear 2 hours of me talking about stuff.
Who would want that?
I don't know. This episode of Connected is made possible by Ecamm. Ecamm Live is the leading video production and live streaming studio built for the Mac. But it doesn't stop there because Ecamm is great at simplifying your workflow. You can do it all with the Ecamm app. Get started quickly and have everything on hand to create whatever you need with video. I love how integrated Ecamm is with Mac OS, so you can take advantage of all the great audio and video tools built into the platform and dip into a bunch of other apps. For instance, if you're on the pro level plan, you can enjoy Ecamm for Zoom. So you can send Ecamm Live's audio and video output into a Zoom meeting or event or webinar, and you can add 8 Zoom participants as camera sources in your broadcast or recording. You can even use individual participant audio and video recordings and add Zoom chat messages to your broadcast or recording as text overlays. It's really awesome. Ecamm is great for streaming, recording, podcasting, and presenting. If you want to stand out from the crowd, you need high-quality video. And with Ecamm, you can screen share, use multiple cameras, and direct the show in real time with our live camera switcher. Plus, you can add logos, titles, lower thirds, and graphics, drop in video clips, bring on interview guests, use a green screen, and so much more. Ecamm's members are entrepreneurs, marketing professionals, podcasters, educators, musicians, church leaders, bloggers, and content creators of all kinds. To join them and to get 1 month free, go to ecamm.com/connected and use the code CONNECTED. That's Ecamm, ECAMM, ecamm.com/connected. Our thanks to Ecamm for their support of the show and all of Relay.
So as we're recording today, Federico published a world premiere article. It's that time, right? It's Summer Game Fest time. But anyway, this is about an app, a thing. I don't even know if we call it an app. Maybe you can answer that for me. A project called Sky, which comes from the creators of Workflow and some of the people who worked on Workflow. We spoke about this company being set up a long time ago. It's called Software Applications Incorporated, which is the hey, we've left Apple, we've got a small team, and we're building the thing. The thing that they're building is called Sky, and Federico had an actual exclusive, right? You're the only person that wrote about this today who got the...
Yes,
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
And it's kind of like a preview article. Can you talk about what is going on here to the best of your ability? Because I know it's very complicated. Great article, which people should absolutely go read, especially even just to look at the images and the GIFs that are in it, so you can kind of get an idea as to what is going on here.
Yeah. Thank you. Obviously, AI disclaimer. This product has AI and it uses LLMs. So if you are not interested, there's going to be a chapter and you can skip it. But this is what the product
but I
is.
don't think they should though. That's very nice of you to say for the people that don't like LLMs and stuff. But this is interesting. You got to know about this. So that was very nice of you to put that disclaimer, but I'm anti-disclaimering it.
All right, cool. All right, well, all right. I tried. To be fair, they did say that they were going to do this 2 years ago. I remember linking to whatever the folks said in November 2023. And they actually delivered on that idea. So the short version. So this is an AI-powered assistant that you install on your Mac, and it's using a large language model. It's using right now in the sort of alpha version that I have. It's using a few different models. I mostly used it with GPT 4.1. Claude is also available. There are no local models that you can install right now. That may change. I don't know. So you install this app, and essentially when you invoke it, it's got this little floating window. It kind of looks like a mini version of Spotlight or Raycast, like a launcher. And you can use it like a launcher in that if you type, I don't know, SA and you launch Safari, you can use it for that, but it's not really meant for that. It's meant for asking questions. But unlike most chatbots, because you may say, well, I can also ask a question to ChatGPT or Claude, you can also, the whole idea is that it integrates with everything on your Mac. It's basically connecting to all the possible system hooks that are available on macOS. It's using all of them. And I kind of want to get into the technical details of some of the underlying tech, but I will do so when it actually launches. Mm-hmm. And what you can do is, I guess the thing that sets it apart is that it can look at any window on your Mac, whether it's visible in the foreground or in the background or minimized in the dock even. It can look at any window and it can read the actual contents of any window using a special flavor of OCR, in that it's not just OCR. It's like a screenshot plus additional data. That's the sort of the secret sauce, so to speak. It can read the content of any window, and it lets you ask questions about that app. So you can do things like basic stuff that you've seen before. Like you're looking at a browser tab and you're like, hey, summarize this. But because Sky is built upon this idea of getting window content is the first idea. And the second one is performing actions. It's got these tools. There's built-in tools that come for free with the app. And obviously, if you're a power user, you can make your own tools. After all, these are the same people that made Workflow, that made shortcuts. But what's different this time is that, and this is one of the themes of the story, both Workflow and shortcuts were always mostly optimized for the power user end of the spectrum. What these folks tried to do this time was try and find a better way to cover the entire spectrum of people that want to use computers, from regular people that maybe have heard about AI and they're like, well, I know that I can ask questions about ChatGPT, but ChatGPT is in a browser and like it cannot do anything on my computer. So trying and be this flexible product that can scale from simple things to advanced things in a way that shortcuts, to be honest, never could. Because there's such a high barrier to entry when it comes to shortcuts, putting together a shortcut. So here you can do things like let's say you're looking at a concert page in Safari or in an email, and you're like, hey, can you add this to my calendar and also send it to Mike? And it's going to do all that. Like from that sentence, it's going to do the visual understanding to see what you mean. And then it's going to use the tools to create a calendar specifically for the event that you're looking at. And it's going to send a message to Mike because iMessage is one of the built-in tools. So that's kind of the idea. It lives on your Mac. It can look at any window and it can perform actions. And those actions are based on tools. And there are some built-in tools that the Sky team is going to give you out of the box. And you can make your own tools. That's sort of the broad overview of what it does.
But it's also like absolutely controlling your computer, right? Like,
okay, so how do I explain this? It depends, right? So there are some things, like for example, iMessage, notes, reminders, the calendar, Apple Mail, web browsing. It actually directly integrates with those apps. So like it can retrieve your calendar events. It can create calendar events. Obviously file management is a big one. So it can read any directory. It can create files, move files, copy files, delete files. Like it basically acts as a Finder assistant. And it can chain these things together, right? So if you want to do something like, hey, take this email and, create a reminder for it, and also write a summary of the email as a text file in my desktop, it's going to do all that, right? It's got that behavior, sort of like people in these days like to call them agents, where they're like automations in a loop, essentially. But it's got that behavior where it's going to do multiple things in a row for you. When it comes to actually controlling your Mac, like it depends what you mean by controlling your Mac. Does it have computer use? Not right now. Can you use Sky itself to write custom tools to control your Mac? Yes. And that's kind of the idea. Like if you're a power user, you can sort of extend the app using AI, using a large language model, essentially using Claude, which is the default model for writing Apple scripts and shell scripts. So where Sky doesn't reach by default, you can provide your own scripts and you can provide your own shortcuts, which I have done, or you can sort of vibe code your way into those tools existing for you. And what's even nicer about this implementation of vibe coding, and specifically AppleScript, which is, it's totally like I don't know why, but I like to think of it as a Jason Snell feature, because I do know that Jason loves some good old fashioned AppleScripts.
He does.
So what it does in that case, when you're asking, hey, I want this script to, batch rename files in Finder in some specific way. Or like, I want an Apple script for BB-edit or something that does such and such thing. When Claude is creating the Apple script, that Apple script will likely never hallucinate because Sky is actually checking the Apple script definition file of the target application. So it's always been correct for me so far, which is incredibly cool. And so I'm guessing, this is just my personal speculation, I'm guessing that down the road, this thing will have computer use, but that's like totally separate from what it is in this version that I have right now.
How long have you been using it?
2 weeks.
Okay. Now you said, I'm going to read the opening to your article. Over the course of my career, I've had 3 distinct moments in which I saw a brand new app and immediately felt like it was going to change how I use my computer. And they were all about empowering people to do more with their devices. And then moving on, you said, for the past 2 weeks, I've been able to use Sky, the new app from the people who made shortcuts. As soon as I saw a demo, I felt the same way that I did about editorial workflow and shortcuts. I knew Sky was going to fundamentally change how I think about my macOS workflow and the role of automation in my everyday tasks. That is very lofty.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, you just wrote this, so you stand by it. But that is, it's big. It's a very big claim, right?
Yeah. I mean, but that's how I felt. You know, like, because I do remember those moments. I do actually remember those moments individually. The first time I got editorial, like where I was and what I was doing. When I got workflow, I remember what I was doing. Shortcuts, I was obviously at WWDC, and then I was able to catch up with the guys in private, and so I do remember each moment distinctly. And when I got the demo of Sky, it's gonna be one of those moments, because like it was great, and like I was actually sort of losing my mind in terms of understanding how does it actually work, and I think it's incredibly cool the way that it works behind the scenes, which is, I will get deep into the technical stuff for the review. Today I just wanted to have a preview, no need to get into it, but also because like technical stuff may change,
Absolutely. Because it seems like this is doing weird stuff, right? Like, not bad, but like
not as much as you imagine. Actually,
okay,
yeah.
But it feels like there is a little bit of like, this can only work on the Mac because on the Mac you have the ability to like poke into places and reverse engineer stuff, and
this can only work on the Mac.
Yeah,
but if your concern is, I bet this is the kind of workaround that is gonna break with the new design, I am very optimistic that even if macOS gets redesigned, it won't break thanks to the way it's been designed.
Maybe a way to put this, I'll ask it to you as a question and you can just answer or not. It's like the things that it is reverse engineering are solid.
I don't even think it's actually reverse engineering. Like,
okay.
I think it's just...
the holes they're poking feel solid, at least.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It's the kind of frameworks that Apple would be. I mean, let's face it, they would be crazy to get rid of the technologies that Sky is using.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was one of my sort of immediate questions. Like, is this going to be durable, or is it going to be one of the situations which we've seen before, Apple engage in like a cat and mouse thing with developers, which is just silly, but
I'm sure it's going to be an app that every single year the new operating system breaks it a bit and they just have to fix it. So many apps are like that, right? They're like, some APIs have changed, so we've got to go in and fix it.
Definitely.
But not to the point where it's like, if I'm understanding what you're saying, Federico, you wouldn't believe to the point where like the new operating system comes out and it's like, well, we're out of business. It's just like, that was the end of that then. No more of that. Like, it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah, no,
I imagine installing Sky, the permissions dialogues are a mile long.
It was actually but it was actually one of the nicest. I don't know if this is going to change by the final release. When I got the first alpha, it was one of the nicest onboarding flows I've ever seen for this kinds of app that wants a ton of permissions. They did all these cute animations and overlays on top of settings. It was really nice.
Those are my favorites when an app, I can't remember which app that I used recently, but it was like that, where it opens settings and like points. I think CleanShot does some of this. Maybe. And like points to, like, it creates UI that points to where you're supposed to click, which I like that because it's helpful, right? And then just like, hey, open settings and do it. It's like, I don't know. It's so hard to find the places now where you got to go to change any of these permissions dialogues. I like it when an app can like suggest to you very clearly where you got to go.
Yeah, it's very nicely done. So I'm very positive that it'll keep working. I guess one of the things I wanted to talk about is this idea of the same app being both accessible for simple tasks, but also very, very optimized for power users at the same time.
Okay.
And what I find most interesting is that I actually wrote this in the story. If you want to use this for like just launching some of your existing scripts or shortcuts, like it's not going to be the best tool for that, because those are like fixed things on your computer that you just want to launch quickly. And here, and especially right now, if you try and do that, like run a shortcut with Sky, just run a shortcut without any additional processing, you're going to have latency because it's going through an LLM. So actually, if you just want to run a shortcut as it is with no AI involved, like there are better solutions for that.
Like Raycast.
Like Raycast.
Yeah.
But what I think is interesting is shortcuts or Apple scripts or shell scripts as part of this, I call it hybrid automation, not because I like to make up brands, but just because it's a pretty simple way to get the idea. I think Sky is useful when you have these kinds of automations that need to have flexible inputs in the non-deterministic inputs. The kinds of automations where you don't know exactly what the input data is going to be like, which is basically the opposite of shortcuts or Apple scripts the old-fashioned way. For the example that I used in the story was, I have this shortcut that I can use to save articles to Mike's favorite application, Readwise Reader.
It's on my home screen.
Yeah. Now, before, I used to have to choose a tag for an article manually. And, save an article. Okay, what's the tag? Pick a tag, save it. With Sky, because there's an LLM, and because LLMs are pretty great at understanding text, I modified that sort of workflow on my computer to be like, okay, before you run the shortcut, do some natural language processing, understand what this article is about, and pick one of these tags from this list of tags that I have. Choose one that you think is most appropriate for the article, and then use that for the shortcut that you're going to run. So, which basically is like, okay, how do you take some input data that can be one of multiple things? You cannot use regular expressions for that because you actually need language understanding. And so how do you combine that flexibility that needs to happen by understanding text with a deterministic automation that requires an API, requires saving an article, choosing a tag? And this is what Sky, I think, is pretty great at, like combining the non-deterministic nature of chatbots with power user stuff. If you're interested in the power user stuff.
Yeah, when I saw this example, this is something I exactly want. Like this exact thing. Because I have tags and I like to assign tags to my articles, but I find it a frustrating step.
Yeah.
Right? Like I want to do it, but it's like every time I've got to like choose it. Plus Readwise has this thing where I'm sure it just reorganizes the tags every single time I get the view, where it's like, what order are these even in? So it's like, oh yeah, no, this is great. And like to kind of build on what you were saying, Federico, it's like the power of this kind of technology is like where you're adding variable content into an automation, where the type of thing that is going in article is fixed, but the content of the article completely random. And without a computer that can understand fully what the information is taking in, because if it can't do that, it limits what you're able to do with it, right? Where you couldn't do this without this kind of level of understanding that a computer can provide now with these tools. Like the best you could maybe do is some kind of sentiment analysis.
Yeah.
But that is so heavy as a thing to do to a step like this. So I found it very interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. And so obviously, I mean, I guess it'll come down to how much they can balance the fact that most users just want to play around with AI on their computers and they're not interested in writing Apple scripts or shortcuts. Like, how much can you make it flexible for somebody who doesn't want to go in and create anything themselves? Like, how flexible can it be out of the box versus how flexible can you be for the people who actually want to get their hands dirty with this? And so it comes down to that. They're said it's launching this summer, I believe they said in the promo video. So they have a few months. The collection of built-in tools is already quite solid. What I think is most impressive is the whole idea of you can take a sky shot. This is one of the things we did not mention. Like, taking a sky shot is like you hold down the 2 command keys on your keyboard, especially the right one, which nobody ever uses. you hold down the 2 command keys and you take this sky shot, and the sky shot is basically a screenshot with additional metadata built in. And so that idea of it doesn't need to be, when it comes to understanding what you're doing, it doesn't need to be integrated with anything specifically, because it can just read the screen and read the window. But when it comes to performing actions, it does. And so they have these built-in tools, or you can use shortcuts, or you can use AppleScript, and you can use shell scripts. And I believe by the public launch, you will also be able to use MCP, which, I don't know, MCP feels like the kind of thing that Mike is going to question me about. Do you have questions about MCP, Mike?
I mean, I'm vaguely aware of it at this point, but like,
it's like this standard that everybody's kind of using now.
There was a good episode of the Verge Class last week where they were talking about Google I/O, and they were talking about MCP, and I found it to be an interesting discussion, because it's like, essentially, with something like MCP, the web just becomes a series of databases that everybody's calling. And it's like the hope is that something like MCP could at least try and help establish a new monetary model for the web of like it costs, it's tolls essentially for accessing these databases. I have no idea if that even makes any sense, but that to me was like okay. Like someone's at least trying to come up with something to still make the web some form of transaction where it needs to be. But yeah, so I've become a little bit more familiar with MCP. Here's a question I have for you, Federico, right? And for someone like me, because you were referencing like automations and like, is it going to be able to do enough? I think I'm very interested in this tool because I think it looks really nice and the examples that you gave are really cool. But sometimes, I think this hits the thing that I have with a lot of automation, right? Where sometimes it feels like it's more effort to run the automation than just to do the thing.
Sure.
Yeah, isn't there like an XKCD comic about this?
Probably.
Yeah, there is. I won't recall it, but I can maybe try and find it. But like,
this one.
There's an example that you gave, which I thought was very technically interesting, right? Which was, take a look at my downloads folder and deal with this for me. And it dealt with it in a really great way. But I'm like, I probably could have done that. Now you do reference that John Voorhees has over 1,000 things in his downloads folder. And so it did a better job, I'm sure, than he could have done in the amount of time to deal with that stuff. But I know that in this, you're like showing examples of the types of things it can do. But there is that thing of like, for someone who's not willing to write an Apple script, they have to be able to ship this product with enough built-in stuff that I can type these commands in and feel like that I'm actually saving time and that it's not just like, look at this fancy toy, right?
Yeah, I think so, and that is the challenge right now. It's also it's gonna be interesting because it's also gonna be integrated with your Google account, so it's gonna have direct Gmail integration. It's gonna use Claude for writing the scripts. You can use multiple versions of Claude. I tested Opus 4. Did an excellent job. What else I did? I forgot to mention. Let's see. Doesn't care which browser you use, obviously, because of the window content thing, and it's also integrated with Google Maps. So you can also use Google Maps if you want as a provider. again, my personal theory is that there's another shoe to drop for this product, which has to be down the road some version of computer use, right? Because by computer use, I mean like, okay, Sky, actually do this thing for me in this app, like actually take control of my computer. Like that has to be something down the road for these folks. But I don't know.
Yeah, well, at the moment, the only things that it can seem to do is the stuff that the APIs provide, like add a note, send a message. Like it's not actually opening messages and sending the message, right? It's just sending it via the APIs.
The integration. Right? Yeah. It's not actually like clicking the messages icon and interacting with the messages window on your behalf.
But I think it's a good thing that it's not yet trying to do that. I think it's too early to do that, right?
Yeah, probably best to do it later. Also because like computer use as a thing in the AI space is very early. There's tons of different models right now, and sort of like the dust still needs to settle on that. And so it's probably best for them to wait and just say, look, we have this collection of built-in tools. We can read your content from any window. You can ask questions about any window on your computer. And when it comes to taking actions, you have these built-in tools, or you can use any of these custom ones. It'll be interesting to see also if they will leverage what they did with workflow and shortcuts, which was the community aspect. Will you be able to actually share custom tools with people? It's going to be interesting. Also because those custom tools can even be regular AI prompts. Like, because it's based on AI, like a tool can be a custom instruction. Just text. And so it'll be interesting to see if there's going to be, I don't know, a directory aspect. Obviously, these folks, they should have some expertise on that front, given that workflow used to have one, Shortcuts still has one. And so, but I don't know. I haven't heard or seen anything about that. Yeah. I hope it does, because I would like to share stuff with people.
I think even if they don't, they'll obviously be, there'll be a subreddit or something. So I think it makes sense for them to embrace it. And that was, thinking back to it, that was one of the things that made workflow so cool. Like that Federico, could build something and then share it on Mac Stories, and like your readers could download the thing and do it, right? And Shortcuts, they've sort of kept it alive, but I think if Apple had started Shortcuts on its own, maybe that would not have been a feature even, but I hope they lean into it. I think it makes sense.
There's one thing that you kind of reference, and we've spoken about it here a little bit, and I do think it's important to talk about, which is the when it works aspect of this kind of technology, right? That like all of this is great when it works. And I wonder, like how it's complicated, right? If we're doing something here where now I'm interacting with my computer and doing things on my computer and computery things, especially looking forward to like computer use, building this kind of tool, there is that risk of like, do you end up just annoying your users because it doesn't work the way that they expect, right? Like they try to do a thing and it just doesn't work. And how much control do they have over that, right? When the LLMs are powering it at the like, if you build an app where you've written all the code for the app, you have control to a degree of how it functions when a user tries to use it. But when you're kind of giving your house over to the LLM, it's like, well, it's going to do what it's going to do, right? They can put checks and balances in place, but they cannot control the output for the input. You just can't, because otherwise you wouldn't use the LLM if you could control its response in every time. And this is a question we just don't have the answer for yet. But like tools like this, like how do you feel about them? Like, do we end up feeling about them the same way that we feel about Siri in the long run? Because you ask it to do something and it doesn't do it? Like, how many times is a user willing to accept that kind of, to accept faults, Or like, or is the technology so good that you're willing to accept faults more often? Like, I just don't know, right? Like, we don't know.
My understanding is that the challenge over the past few months has been like not necessarily like obviously also programming the app itself and all of the Mac OS integrations, but also like sort of managing the LLM, like trying to manage something that is by design, I don't want to say unmanageable, but it's non-deterministic. It can produce unexpected stuff. It can hallucinate results. I took a look at the system prompt for Sky, even though I wasn't supposed to, and I did it on my own. I didn't publish it. It's a really good system prompt, and I can tell you that they've put a lot of checks in different places for making sure that things go a certain way. The two hallucinations that I saw were actual bugs in how they were dealing with, like, for example, one of them was getting a link from Spotify. Like, it was a very specific thing. But at the same time, like, sure, they can have a really good system prompt. Sure, they can have this structure where, they have some local stuff happening that is checking what gets passed to the LLM, and then it's checking again what returns from the LLM. You can have and this is not unheard of. I think Simon Willison, for example, theorized this idea of the dual LLM approach, where you have two LLMs actually working together, one to check what the other is doing. Interesting stuff. It's actually and Google actually published a white paper on this a couple of months ago. I forgot, is it called the Camel architecture, where you basically have two LLMs, one is quarantined and the other is not, and one of them is checking the output of the other. Crazy stuff. There's a paper that you can find somewhere. But even, despite all the checks that you can put in places, can you have 100% guarantee that this is always going to go the way you expect? No. At this point, scientifically, no. You can't have that. You can check that an LLM always returns output in a certain way, and if it doesn't, you're gonna block the answer. Like, if you expect the LLM to give you, I don't know, some Python code or some JSON, and it doesn't, you can have a little actual traditional code in your app that says, well, this is not Python. I'm not gonna show this to the user. But what if the Python code is bad? What if it is Python code? What if it is AppleScript but it's actually bad? Do you have 100% guarantee that it's gonna work? No, you don't. And that's, I guess, the bargain that we signed up for. But yeah, but at the same time, it also gives you the flexibility to do stuff that you couldn't do before, right? And that's the whole thing, I suppose. Like, at the same this thing that sometimes can hallucinate or can be wrong or can produce unexpected content. At the same time, it's also the technology that allows you to just chat and ask stuff with typos and natural language. So yeah, it's a balance.
It's another example of someone beating Apple to shipping something they said they would do, right? And this goes, I think, much further even than like the personal assistant stuff Apple outlined at WWDC. But man, what's going on in the Apple software division?
Here's a funny thing that I'm just going to mention. I saw a while back somebody on the internet, I don't remember where, but I saw somebody actually reverse engineer app intents, like third-party app intents. I saw somebody, I'll try my best to find the link, that was able to put together a proof of concept that could call third-party shortcuts actions from third-party apps in their third-party app. Now, obviously, this is something that only Siri can do. The whole idea of like Apple Intelligence and using third-party app intents. I think people are trying to reverse engineer that using private APIs. So it'll be so funny. It'll be so funny if the Sky folks or somebody else tries to reverse engineer app intents and ships the Apple Intelligence demo before Apple Intelligence. That'll be so funny if it happens. I'll try my best to find that link of the person who was attempting this.
That seems risky. Like, that seems the kind of thing where like you would build a thing and then they might just pull the rug from under you because they don't really care about you.
Here it is.
They're like doing their own thing.
Yeah. I sent this
I'll
to
put it in the
Finn.
show notes.
I sent this to Finn, obviously, the one true son, for research purposes. But this was the idea. It's somebody that was able to put something like a proof of concept together that can call third-party actions and intents with SIP, System Integrity Protection, still enabled on Mac OS, still enabled, just as they say, just a little private API happening.
little wiki.
Just a little private API.
Yeah. Man. Well, this will be exciting to see where it goes. And congrats on the exclusive.
Thank you.
Super cool.
Thank you.
Super
Hopefully,
cool.
hopefully the final thing I will say, hopefully this launches to the public before it gets acquired by somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, Apple should buy them again. I don't know if they would want to do that, but I feel like, I mean, Apple can't do it this way, right? This is like, I understand what you're saying, Stephen, but like Apple can't do it this way. I just feel like it's too like inherently strange, like, which is good about it. It's like the good thing about it. I just don't think Apple could do it the way that they're doing it. But the idea behind the way all of this is working, like they could take the ideas, right? Like there are really good ideas here. Like the Sky Shot thing is a very clever way of doing stuff like this. I also wonder, like, there was that rumor of like Apple's models. I wonder if like Apple's models could be used here so you could do things on device. So like, who knows how good they would be. But yeah, I mean, will they be bought? Will this ever see the light of day? I hope so, because I want to play with it, but we will have to wait and see, right? We'll have to wait and see.
This episode of the show is brought to you by Connected Pro members. Connected Pro is the longer ad-free version of the show that we do each and every week. So the way that we do this is we have an extra topic, usually at the beginning of the show. And at the end of the show, we have some banter and pick a title and hang out for a little while. But if you're a member, you also get access to a bunch of really cool perks from Relay, including a newsletter, a couple of members-only podcasts, and annual specials, which are going on right now. We just published the Mac Power Users annual special, and there's a bunch more coming, including one from us a little bit later in June, in which Mike and I make Federico watch our joint favorite movie, Back to the Future. So you don't want to miss that. You also get access to the Relay Discord, which is my favorite place on the internet. So all of this is just $7 a month or $70 a year. You can go to relay.fm/connected/join to learn more and sign up. It's a great time to do it and support your favorite podcast. Again, that's relay.fm/connected/join. Big news, Apple is so back to gaming.
Oh, God.
Apple loves games. Mark Gurman reporting the other day that Apple is planning basically like a hub for gaming that would be a quote, seeking to sell gamers and developers an idea that it's a leader in the market. So this is like a combo of game launcher and achievement and leaderboards and editorial content. Of course, Apple Arcade promotion. So if you see a red badge on this app icon, it's just Apple trying to sell you Apple Arcade. Have I hit my head, or does Apple have Game Center still? Like, or
not really.
It's not what it used to be, right?
Game Center is just in the settings app now.
It's not what you think.
Yeah, it really isn't. Like, and the reason I had this thing today where John Voorhees pointed this out to me, that like Game Center is not a dedicated app, and it hasn't been for a long time. Like Game Center exists, the functionality and the references to it, but it's like in settings and it pops up in certain games. But like Game Center used to be its own application, right? Where you could go and you could like look at stuff that was happening.
Yeah, it was Felty.
It was Felty for at least one iteration in its life.
And then it was Bubbly. Remember the iOS 7 redesign?
Oh, that was weird. I do remember that.
The icon of it, when it pops up in games, is still bubbles.
Yeah.
There are still bubbles, but it's not as bubbly as it used to be. Yeah.
It's still bubbles.
What a weird thing. But so as well as that, the Mac version would be able to show games that were apparently not downloaded on the App Store. And this will be part of the WWDC announcement. Apple have also acquired a company called Rack7, who made a game called Sneaky Sasquatch, which was an Apple Arcade game. For some reason, they have acquired this team of 2 game developers, which is odd. This is very strange.
Acquisition feels like a strong word when it's just 2 people, but I mean,
hey,
congrats to them.
Yeah, I mean, it's still an acquisition. There's a company. They bought the company.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Apple referenced that like it's a games thing. Like they're not like hiring these guys as developers for Game Center or whatever. Like the quote that they gave, I'm trying to bring it up now, but Macrumors is not loading. But it's, we love Sneaky Sasquatch, and we're excited that the 2-person team has joined Apple to continue their work on it with us. We will continue to deliver a great experience for Apple Arcade players. Like, I don't understand why they have done that. Like, that is interesting to me. Especially there are like other development studios that they give a similar amount of love to, like the What the Car, What the Bat team, where like they just seemingly at this point seem to just be making games for Apple Arcade. Like they have like a new one every year or something. I don't understand what's going on here. Like in my dream world, this is a game store, and then games are separated from the App Store. And then there's an App Store and a game store with different rules for each of them. This is my dream scenario of what they're building here.
Yeah.
But I do not think that is what is going on, but it's what I would like to occur. So like the game store, that split is 70-30, but the App Store is 10-90. Like that's the kind of thing I want to see. I don't think it's what this is. But if it's just this, I don't know what the point of it is. I don't know why this is going to happen. I don't know what they expect to get from it.
I think a split like that would have worked 5 years ago, but I think the situation that Apple is in now legally and reputationally with the App Store, like say they split it and developers get a better cut than game developers, like that would only last so long in the world of courts and lawsuits.
Who even knows anymore? You know what? I agree with you, like, but who even knows anymore? Like, at least it would be they were trying something.
And it would
like,
preserve most
anything.
of their in-app purchase, right? Most of their in-app purchase money is from games. It's not, it's a lot of money for regular developers, right? But in the scale of Apple, it is, it's mostly game revenue. Maybe scheme was the right word, actually.
Yeah, scheme is a good one.
Hard to say.
Scheme has a couple of different meanings, and it works great in both of these scenarios.
Oh, I'm a writer.
Federico, as our resident gamer, how do you feel about this?
To me, this sounds like Apple is creating a copy of. Do you guys ever owned a Backbone controller?
Yes. Yes, good call. Yep.
To me, this sounds like an Apple version of the Backbone app, which is basically a launcher for all the games that you have installed on your device. Plus, they also have integration with streaming and that sort of thing. I don't mean to sound too harsh, because whenever I am harsh, I upset some people. And so I'm going to try my best. But it feels to me as if this is yet another delusion from Apple's part to put up this pretense that they understand video games, when they only understand video games in the context of a financial product. And I mean, obviously, people make video games because want to make money.
Yeah.
But Apple seems to always treat video games as like a revenue source. Like they never truly put in the same amount of care and love into games as they're doing for, say, Apple TV Plus. Like, obviously, Apple TV Plus needs to make money, but you can also tell that they care about the artistic form of films and television. Like, you can tell that they care. And also, it needs to make money. But the two things can coexist. And to me, with the App Store and Apple Arcade, I don't know. It always felt like a half-baked effort to say, yeah, we do love games, but this seems like another attempt to say, hey, look at us, look at all these games that we have on the App Store for families and that you can use for free, and some AAA stuff. I'm sure this will be another great storefront for Death Stranding, Assassin's Creed, and No Man's Sky, and those other 5 games that they sort of rotate in their press releases. What they should have done is understand that they either work with Steam and Xbox or they don't. That's what I would have. I think Quinn Nelson was posting about this last night. Like, what I would have done is, you're Apple. You fundamentally hate Epic, right? You hate Epic Games. All right, cool. You go to Valve. You're like, hey, Valve. All right, listen to us. We're gonna work with you. We want to work with you to actually make Steam on the Mac a great place for video games. Here's the game porting toolkit technology that we have. Please work with us to make sure that it's comparable to Proton and to the compatibility layer that you have. That's what they were supposed to do on the Mac. On iOS and iPadOS, work with Microsoft. Work with everybody except Epic Games to say, all right, what do you want to bring your cloud games or Game Pass, whatever it is? Can you please bring these games to iOS and iPadOS? Essentially, what I'm saying is, on desktop, there's a company that you got to go to, and it's Valve. And on mobile devices, there's PlayStation, and there's Nintendo to an extent, and there's Microsoft, because Microsoft truly wants Xbox to be everywhere. That's what I would have done. I wouldn't do yet another quasi App Store storefront where you sort of take out the games and you put a couple of stories a week to say, these games are great. We have Tetris and we have Monopoly and we have, I don't know. But you do what I imagined if you understand video games. And if games for you are just another App Store category, then that's your problem.
Like, I know that there are people there that understand games because they got bilateral.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Like, the people that did that, I want to see them making more of the big decisions at Apple Arcade and at Apple in gaming, because that was smart. That was really smart, and that would have cost a lot of money, and they did it, and they made it work, and it was great. Like, I know that there are people that understand how to do it. They are clearly not given the resources, and comparing it to Apple TV is really smart. I never thought about that before, because the people that are making the Apple TV shows are absolutely given the agency and resources. Apple Arcade is not the same way, but I feel like Apple could make more money from games than they could make from TV on iOS.
Yeah,
they absolutely could.
And I mean, it doesn't. The thing is, if you don't find a way to combine the culture and to combine the care with the resources and the money, it doesn't matter how deep your pockets are. I mean, look at Netflix and all the studios they acquired, the people they acquired, the exclusives that they got for Netflix games, and then it all went to that place. It's like, it doesn't really matter how much money you have. There's plenty of companies these days with I was gonna say disposable income, with billions of dollars. That's not disposable income. There's all kinds of companies with billions of dollars who could do games, and some of them have tried, but ultimately they fail because you require that combination of money, and the care, and if you don't have both, you're just gonna end up being another Google Stadia, another Netflix games, another
Netflix is the
Apple
elephant in the room, because Netflix got all the right games, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem to have worked for them. Now, you could argue the reason it hasn't worked is because, like with Apple TV, and I think Netflix have really put a lot of money into talking about the fact that they have games. Like, they're acquiring the rights to lots of great games, but they're not doing a very good job of telling their customers that they should use them.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure this will be one of the big announcements in iOS 19. Game Store, Games app, whatever. I bet it's going to be called the Games app.
Apple Games.
Apple Game. Oh, Apple. Oh, yes, it's Apple Games for sure. You're right. It's Apple Games. We'll see. Maybe there's more acquisitions coming. Who knows?
Before we wrap up, so next week we're doing the Rickies, so that will probably be pretty focused on talking about WWDC. But next week, the Nintendo Switch 2 launches the day after we record, and so I wanted to get a quick hype check from the gang about the Nintendo Switch 2. Steven, do you want to start?
I did not pre-order one. We're going to do it.
Do you regret that?
A little bit, because my plan was to do it for the holidays, and now I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to find one. I will say my 10-year-old has been talking to his cousin, and they are both very excited about the Switch 2. But my brother's plan also is to wait to the holidays. And so I think Mark and I will have to do this in conjunction so the cousins can play together. But yeah, super excited for the reviews and to see what people think about it.
My advice to you. So apparently it's looking like there is going to be stock available when it launches in stores.
I might just go ahead and get one on the way.
You should just try and get one, because if you wait till the holidays, you might be paying more money.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. Did y'all pre-order? I forget. We talked about it.
Oh, yeah. I pre-ordered 2. One for me and one for Mr. Brandon Bigley.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
That's how that went down in the end.
Yeah.
How are you going to get it to him?
I'm going to ship it to him.
To Japan?
Yes.
Oh,
wow.
my God. Wait. So, you're Brendan's John?
Yes.
Are you not going to ship it to John and have John send it to Brendan? that feels more like... Is John coming over to ship it to Brendan? What's happening?
Have I guys told you? Have I told you guys that I have a new shipments guy?
No.
Do you know about my new guy?
No.
I don't know about your new guy.
All right. So there's this guy, Alessio. All right. He's got, in theory, well, not in theory, in practice also. He runs this newsstand, old-fashioned newsstand shop.
This is great.
That's cool.
Okay. All right. We still have quite a few newsstands in Rome. A lot of them have closed over the years, obviously. But it's still, but what I've noticed is that a lot of newsstands have sort of repurposed their business with being delivery points and shipment points for all kinds of packages, and Amazon, obviously, or selling cards for trading card games like Pokemon, Magic, One Piece, all the popular card games.
Do they sell vapes too?
No, they don't sell vapes. I haven't seen vapes.
Okay.
And apparently they're making quite a bit of money especially with the delivery stuff. So Alessio is, found out about Alessio a few months ago. It's become my best friend. Now when I go there, like today I went there, had 10 packages that I needed to ship, all Amazon returns basically. And it's and so every time we chat, and it's very flexible. He supports all of the major couriers. And then we end up talking about video games, because he's also a gamer. So we were talking about Xbox and Oblivion and all that kind of stuff. Cool guy. So I am going to use Alessio to ship Brandon's Nintendo Switch 2 to Japan.
That is incredible. I feel like we just got an NPC exclusive. NPC listeners just got an exclusive, which is great.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember my story about the original Nintendo Switch?
I know you did a video review of it. I remember that.
Well, because I wanted one that bad, because I wanted to do that, I pre-ordered 3 of them.
That's
yes,
right.
From different services. Well, I did it again. I pre-ordered 3 Nintendo Switches again for the same reason as last time, which is retail here in the UK when it comes to Nintendo is very weird. They all just started selling them randomly, not on the agreed upon date. And none of them are clear about whether you're actually going to get it on release day or not. So I ordered one. The first one I got was from a site I do not trust. The second one was from a website I trusted, and that was going to be the end of it. Then there was a company who's like, yeah, but you can just come pick it up from a store. And I was like, that's the one I want. So I have 3 pre-orders, but they already all have homes, right? People that couldn't get them. So one will go to my wife, and one of my best friends from home couldn't get one. I was like, great, I have 3.
I
So it's
got
like
you,
same as
yeah.
last time, where last time one went to a friend and one went to my brother. Like, I'm not like flipping these things. It's people that tried and couldn't get them, but I'm just more plugged into the system and was able to get a bunch of pre-orders in. So I'm going to have mine on day 1. I'm going to go pick it up from a toy store, which is just like fantastic. I'm so happy about that. I'll be there when it opens, pick it up, come home. And what's so good, I'm so happy about this. So my mother-in-law is coming to help out for during WWDC week. So like I can work late and like, there'll be help at home.
Nice.
She's arriving on that day. So like I will get like a day and a half of like, I'm just going to play Nintendo. I'm going to go upstairs and I'm going to play Nintendo. And I'm so excited about this. Like this is lining up just right for me. I'm really excited about it. I'm really excited about Mario Kart. That's like the whole thing of me for launch. Like is Mario Kart. That's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah, I'm so deeply excited about getting a new Nintendo console, Mario Kart, and I think I've decided I am gonna play Breath of the Wild again instead of Tears of the Kingdom. If anything, because I do know that deep down in my heart, I prefer that game. And so I'm going to play that game again. And I think I'm just going to download a bunch of stuff to see what it's like on the Nintendo Switch too. But I think I'm going to play Cyberpunk on it. I want to see what it's like to play a really demanding game on the Nintendo Switch too. Despite, spoilers, I guess, despite me now having a proper gaming PC, I want to see what it's like on the Nintendo Switch too.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm really intrigued. Like, how are these things actually gonna run? Like, truly? Like, we're gonna find that out in the reviews. Even though, did you see that Nintendo's not sending reviews?
Yeah, it's not clear. Are they really doing this? There's not gonna be press with review access before? That's
IGN said no.
Huh.
That's silly. Why?
Don't know. Like, that's not great.
IGN said no.
IGN said that they were not getting units, and so they'll be doing reviews in progress from when it starts. From like launch day.
That is weird. Okay.
It's usually not a good sign. Or Nintendo just don't care. Right? Like Nintendo just don't care.
Oh well. Okay.
Does it matter if you sell all that you can make?
It doesn't really.
You know? Yeah, IGN reported there will be no early Switch 2 reviews. It's taken me to a Reddit post where it says the post was deleted by the person who posted it. So take that with a grain of salt. I've just said it, and now I'm not sure anymore because that was this thing I saw on Blue Sky, and now I'm struggling to find like sourcing of it. But they said it. They said it initially. I don't know what's going to happen.
Well, I think that does it for this week. If you want to find links to all the stuff we spoke about, including Federico's great look at Sky, they're in your podcast player and they're on the web at relay.fm/connected/554. 2 of those links are special. One of them you can leave feedback or follow up for the show. You can do it anonymously. There's a little checkbox there. And you can also get Connected Pro, the longer ad-free version of the show that we do each and every week. You can find us online. Federico is the editor-in-chief of MacStories.net, hosts a bunch of podcasts over there. Mike hosts a bunch of shows here at Relay, and you can check out his work at Cortex Brand. I write 512pixels.net and co-host Mac Power Users here on Relay every Sunday. I'd like to thank our sponsor this week, Ecamm, for their support of the show. And until next time, guys, say goodbye.
Arrivederci.
Cheerio.
I'm taking back the chairmanship. Just wait.
Yeah, good luck. Good luck.